Families of government employees who were the victims of a deadly bus crash in China are arriving on site. Beijing has expressed condolences. The prosecution has only indicted 2 out of the 8 people named in late Gyeongnam CEO Sung Won-jong's bribery list. Find out why. And the newly elected International Maritime Organization Secretary General says he will help spread Korea's superior maritime technology around the globe. Hello and welcome to News Today on KBS World. It's Friday, July 3rd. I'm Luke Clary. The death toll in the deadly bus accident in China has risen to 11, including 10 Koreans and a Chinese bus driver. Families of the Korean government employees who were the victims of the bus crash are arriving at the site, and the Chinese government has expressed condolences.
A bus traveling at high speed abruptly plunges over a bridge rail. The image captured by closed-circuit TV from the opposite side of the bridge was aired on Chinese local media.
뭐 우리 차야? 네, 버스. 우리 차야? 잘한다고 그냥 쎄 달리더니.
Local police and rescue teams made all-out efforts to save the casualties, but the death toll has risen to 11, 10 Koreans and a Chinese bus driver. This is the scene some 20 hours after the bus plunge. Broken glass and other debris are scattered about in a mess. The Chinese security police have secured camera footage at the time of the incident and are investigating whether poor driving or speeding is to blame for the crash. The bereaved families have one by one arrived at the funeral hall. All 16 of the injured, meanwhile, are being treated at a university hospital in Changchun. A government team from Seoul, including the Vice Minister of Government Administration and Home Affairs, has arrived at the site and inspected the treatment of injured victims. Chinese authorities have promised full cooperation in follow-up measures to the accident.
The prosecution has indicted only Gyeongnam Governor Hong Jun-pyo and former Prime Minister Lee Won-gu. Out of the 8 names included in the late Gyeongnam Enterprise Chairman Sung Won-jong's bribery list, the remaining 6 have not faced prosecution. Here's more. The special prosecutorial team that has been investigating the Sung Won-jong bribery list scandal for nearly 3 months finally announced its findings on Thursday. Out of the 8 names mentioned on the list of bribe recipients, incumbent South Gyeongsang Governor Hong Jun-pyo and former Prime Minister Lee Won-gu were indicted without detention. Governor Hong is accused of receiving over $89,000 arranged by the deceased businessman during his run for Hannara Party chief back in 2011. Former Premier Lee allegedly received over $26,000 directly from Sung when he ran for by-elections in 2013. Meanwhile, the prosecution have decided not to indict former Presidential Chief of Staff Kim Ki-chun, who is alleged to have received $100,000 in September 2006, because the statute of limitations has expired in his case. Another former Presidential Chief of Staff, Heo Tae-yeol, who is suspected of having received over $625,000 in 2007, was acquitted for lack of evidence. 3 other officials were also acquitted for the same reason. They are former Presidential Chief of Staff Lee Byung-gi, Busan Mayor Seo Byung-soo, and Incheon Mayor Yoo Jung-bok. The prosecution also decided to acquit Representative Hong Mun-jong, who was working for the Saenuri Party during the 2012 presidential campaign due to a lack of concrete evidence. A new modern terminal has opened at North Korea's Pyongyang Sunan International Airport, but portraits of the country's founder, Kim Il-sung, are nowhere to be seen in the new terminal, which is considered to be quite unusual. Let's take a look.
This is the newly opened terminal at the Pyongyang Sunan International Airport in North Korea. The North held a grand ceremony marking its completion and wholly attributed the project to their incumbent leader Kim Jong-un.
청룡의 수도 평양의 관문인 평양국제비행장 항공 역사가 선군 시대의 기념비적 건축물로 웅장 화려하게 일떠섰습니다.
Usually hung outside such buildings, the typical large-scale portrait of the country's founder and Kim Jong-un's grandfather, Kim Il-sung, is nowhere to be seen. A similar portrait grabs the attention of visitors arriving in North Korea in the old terminal building, where the picture frame is hung from the center ceiling. But the portrait is gone in the new terminal. It's still too early to tell, and the portrait may appear in the coming days. But experts say it could be a measure to ease a sense of aversion foreign tourists may feel as they arrive in the country. Others say it shows Kim Jong-un trying to stand out on his own as he marks his 4th year in power.
Im Ki-taek, newly elected International Maritime Organization Secretary General, has returned to Korea and announced that he would do his best to spread Korea's superior maritime technology to the rest of the globe so as to help other IMO members.
80% of all maritime accidents occur due to human error. The International Maritime Organization plans to implement an e-navigation system which uses cutting-edge IT technology to cut down on maritime disasters starting in 2019. Consequently, the global competition to set the technology standards for e-navigation has already grown fierce. As Korea's Im Ki-taek was elected as the new IMO Secretary General, Korea is expected to gain an edge in setting such international maritime regulations. Im also said that he would work hard to spread Korea's exceptional maritime technology to help other IMO member nations.
채용될 수 있는 이런 환경을 만들어주면은 전체 범지구적으로도 도움이 되고 또 대한민국도 도움이 되는 이런 쪽으로 저희 생각을 하고 있고요.
Im also pledged to eradicate regionalism among member nations and simplify the complex international agreement procedures.
Drunk driving has plunged yet another happy family into tragedy. A father in his late 50s was killed while returning home with his daughter. Here's more.
Holding the portrait of her father tightly in both hands. It was the final goodbye to her father, who was killed in a traffic accident. Tragedy struck Tuesday as a 57-year-old surnamed Kim was returning home on his cultivator with his daughter, who he picked up from school after a late study session. Suddenly, a cargo truck hit the cultivator from behind, killing Kim on the spot and seriously injuring the daughter. The blood alcohol level of the truck driver was 0.24%, high enough to have his license revoked. Neighbors wept at the news of the father, who was the breadwinner for his elderly mother and 4 young children.
아버지가 먹었지 뭐 아들 수다거리 하느라고 사람은 좋은 사람인데 그렇게 내려가졌지.
Having lost the head of the household, the family is at a loss as to how to survive from here on out. There's no one to even look after the eldest daughter who was hospitalized. Drunk driving continues to bring tragedy and shatter the lives of others.
Turning Me card merchandise is a hit in the children's toy market, but some parents are outraged that some toy stores attempt to bundle the popular toy cars with more expensive toys.
A long line of customers has formed at this supermarket's toy section. They are waiting to buy Turning Me card toys, which are so popular among children that supply cannot catch up with demand.
오늘 몇 시부터 기다리신 거예요?
12시부터 기다렸어요. 줄 서서 지금 12시에 나와가지고.
This is a toy store stocked with a Turning Me card merchandise. A customer intending to purchase a $20 Turning Me card toy car would have to also buy a $35 toy robot. Such tie-in products are in most cases unpopular toys from the same maker that are not selling well. Toy stores claim that toy manufacturers force them to sell tie-in products.
예, 안 찾으니까 끼워서 팔아라. 이쪽으로 저희한테 그렇게 나쁘게 해가지고 이거 팔려면 이거 같이 받아라.
Parents are growing increasingly outraged as unscrupulous and selfish toy makers take advantage of children's attachment to their favorite characters.
The MERS outbreak dealt a severe blow to the apparel wholesale market in Dongdaemun, Seoul, which was once crowded with Chinese tourists before the outbreak. The owner of one large shopping mall in Dongdaemun has decided not to receive over $500,000 in rent from his tenants to help them cope with the business crisis.
The fashion town in Dongdaemun, Seoul, which used to be packed with customers, is now deserted.
여름 매출이 거의 1년에 최고였었다고 하면 지금은 반 이상 많이 힘든 편이죠.
The median daily sales at this large shopping mall used to reach $4.4 million, but recently they have plunged more than 70%. Merchants are struggling to pay monthly wages to their workers and factory operation fees. To help them cope with the crisis, the owner has decided to cut the rent by 30% for the next 2 months. Young entrepreneurs in their 20s and 30s who are having a hard time dealing with the declining sales on their own can now breathe a sigh of relief.
다 같이 이제 그런 점에 대해 생각을 해주고 대안을 짜준다는 점에서 되게 기쁘게 생각하고 있고.
The owner of the shopping mall humbly says that he did what he had to do.
상인들 이제 눈빛만 봐도 손님이 안 오다 보니까 그래서 우리가 그냥 조금 마음이라도 이렇게 할 수 있는 부분이 뭔가 생각해서.
With the government alone facing limitations in helping the nation cope with the consequences of the MERS outbreak, the private sector is practicing coexistence as it strives to survive on its own.
Development of the border area in Gangwon province has been restricted so far because of its proximity to the demilitarized zone. But recently, the region has regained vigor with the opening of ecological facilities there. Take a look.
What used to be a military barrack is now a healing center nestled in the woods near the inter-Korean border. The center has a Korean medicine clinic, condos, and a sauna where customers can find mental and physical respite in a natural environment. Operated directly by local residents, the center is now poised to attract medical tourists.
도농교류사업과 그 수학여행단 코레일하고 연결돼가지고 직접적인 우리 조합원들한테 소득이 가게 하려고 지금.
Another village in the border area has also been transformed recently into one dedicated to growing blueberries. Blueberry farms will soon be built here to meet the growing demand for hands-on farming programs. To ensure their profitability, post management is vital for these villages, which are funded by the local government and operated by local residents. The government of Gangwon province plans to invest over $13 million by 2017 to create so-called DMZ peace villages in 6 border areas such as Cheolwon and Gosong.
Inflation is said to be nearing zero, but ordinary consumers apparently don't feel the impact of low inflation on their wallets. But there are some stores that relate to people's plights and haven't raised their prices in order to provide affordable goods and services to as many people as possible.
This roasted chicken place is packed with diners all year round. Great tasting chicken may play a big part in its success, but there is another secret to its popularity. A roasted chicken at this place costs under $5. It may be hard to believe, but there's even a sign put up on one side of the store pledging low prices by the owner herself.
당이 담회예요. 그러니까 조금만 남기고 욕심 안 부리고 그냥 조금만 남기고 그냥 나도 좋고 손님들도 좋고 서로 상부상조하는 거죠.
She even has a special recipe. She first soaks the chickens in brine before roasting them in an electric oven. and then the chickens are fried for a crispy texture and buttery flavor.
제가 학생이잖아요. 가격도 부담되지 않고 맛도 있으니까 자주 찾는 것이에요.
At this hair salon in Gwanak District in Seoul, a patron can get a new hairdo for under $10. A haircut only costs $4.50 and a perm for around $13. The beauty shop owner hasn't raised prices even once over the past 20 years. The salon was even selected as a good store by the city of Seoul.
손님들 이렇게 말씀을 들어보면 엄청 불향이라 그래요. 모든 것이 이렇게 싸게 하니까 너무나 손님들 좋아하고 또 저도 손님 걱정하지 않고 그냥 마음 편하게 일하고.
In the old days, comic book stores provided the best entertainment for students. There are fewer such places now, but some of them have returned as book cafes like this one to keep the cherished memories alive. It costs only 30 cents to borrow a comic book. A large percentage of the customers are mothers who bring their kids along.
옛날 추억을 좀 더듬어보는 장소로는 너무 좋고요. 도란도란 아들이랑 좀 얘기하면서 이런 기회는 흔치 않아서.
These businesses deserve to be called good stores as they give up part of their profits to provide their customers not only with affordable goods and services, but also with happiness.
Now we'll take a look at the markets, followed by the world weather. And that's it for this edition of News Today. Thanks for being with us, and we'll see you again on Monday. Have a great weekend. Goodbye.